Okay, thank you for joining us for the Outlast Episode 8 recap show. I'm Alex. I'm joined here by Jen as always.
Hello.
We're also joined by Ziggy the cat, who's been very vocal and you will probably hear from. She has lots of exciting takes about Outlast and this episode in particular. I was hoping maybe she would interject on cue, but she has not,
No,
unfortunately.
I tried to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about, as always, episode 8 of Outlast, titled Stomped On, Spit On. Not a sex thing in this case. However, for some folks, that
Jeez.
might be your bag. um,
There are. This baby cat is listening.
yeah. So, as always, if you haven't watched the episode yet, you should go and do that first, and then you can come back and we'll be right here waiting for you. This is the second episode post merge, so things really kind of getting going. Um, and the first original green player eliminated since episode 4 in David's vote out. So,
Mm.
been a long run of orange with Anna, the one being voted out. Maybe let's start, as always, with kind of your biggest moment,
Mm.
most exciting, noteworthy thing to happen this episode.
I would say Sky using her idol very correctly
Mm-hmm.
is a fun moment and probably the biggest of the episode. And then also Elizabeth winning the challenge
Yeah,
because I think the whole dynamic would have been considerably different potentially if she hadn't.
sure.
So,
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, this is the second time that an idol's come out. At the first one being episode 3 when Ty played his, ended up being a unnecessary play in the grand scheme of things. He blocked 2 votes, which wasn't enough to make a difference. But in this case, Sky's idol play is a correct one. She received 5 votes, which would have sent her home if she didn't play the idol and protect herself. So certainly the right move to play it. A successful play, one of a few now, kind of in consistent weeks where you're seeing Sky kind of read the room and make an educated decision and it going correctly. So all definitely one of those like host dreams too. You want to always dream that you'll get a moment where you can say a lot of votes do not count.
mm.
And so these five votes that did not count, the most so far this season, going to be tough to top that with now we're down to just 8 players, so it would have to be a really extreme majority here to
And
do more than that.
does this mean that another idol is placed?
Yeah, good question. I'm trying to remember if we did. I think the answer is no, because if so, just to reset idol counts, Elizabeth has hers from the original Green Tribe, and Sky has her second idol.
Yeah.
So still 2 in play. I believe that was the max that we had at this point, or at least not the max, but we had set, throughout the game, okay, at each round, if the number of idols in play or like in possession dips below this number, we'll plant a new one. I'm pretty sure it had to get under 2 at this point for us to plant a new one. So
Yeah.
I don't think we put another one in play yet.
No, I think you're right.
Um,
I forgot that Sky had 2.
I see. And yeah, Elizabeth winning immunity big as you start to see. One of the notes I had is like, I think Adam's one of the first ones to really clock this, but like the heat starts to build a little bit on Elizabeth and Abby and Sam as like these people are doing a really good job. So who knows? Yeah, if she doesn't win this one, maybe she's in a vulnerable position.
But she has her idol, so
That's true. She has
yeah.
her idol too. So yeah, Sky playing the idol is a really exciting, fun moment, and ultimately it blows back on Anna, who was the decoy vote. After some discussion about that, she gets 3 votes. 1 vote lands on Adam. That was Abby putting it there as a safeguard. And the 3 votes on Anna's enough to knock her out here. Like we said, the first green player eliminated for a really long time. And she didn't even get vote majority, for it to happen. It took an idol for it to happen. So
Yeah. I
green maybe as a whole, their position weakened a little bit, but you hear the way that some of the players talked about Anna from the green tribe. Maybe she was not their top option, and Abby, whether this is real or just what she says to Sky to appease her, is like shows some willingness to vote for Anna. So, you know,
Yeah, and I think that was, Dan spoke to this an episode or two ago that, Anna would be the first to go green,
right?
from green because of her flipping and voting out David. So I think, yes, she's an original green, but at this point, I don't think the allegiance is fully there. And so it was an easier name to throw out than one of the core green who are left.
Yeah, I am making a note, and it's here.
As we talk about the challenge next, I wanted to.
Well, before we go there, I want to talk a little bit, do a better job of like eulogizing the eliminated player here. So Anna's eliminated. Is there anything else you want to say about Anna's game, or what she showed out there? Second member of the jury. I can go first, and that I think she really did play an interesting role here in an interesting game, especially in that post swap pre-merge phase where she's kind of the deciding vote in a few consecutive tribals. She's the first to flip off of green, and then she flips back to green, and is kind of one of the most responsible parties in eliminating both David and then Cody. And so we see that on Survivor, even like kind of being in that middle spot can be advantageous. But sometimes it catches up to you because now you've burned everyone, and everybody is like, yeah, we could afford to lose them. And I wonder if that's kind of what happens here. Like you were saying, Green's not super broken up about potentially, throwing her out there as a sacrificial vote.
Well, and then her sister's gone, and Ty's not in a great spot. So any, friends outside of the game in the
Sure.
game situation, that's not strong enough to lean on at this point.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, a really critical part of the game, especially in that swapped stage. So, in a early jury member with maybe a lot of influence on who comes next. We can talk about the challenge now.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I was just going off your list. So
Yeah.
the challenge, what I wanted to say is I was disappointed or maybe a little annoyed that the length of time that this took them was so much shorter
Yeah.
than the amount of effort I put in to paint all of those word tiles. That took me a solid 2 days.
Yeah.
So that was upsetting. But I think it was a fun multi-step,
Yeah.
challenge. It's just that I thought maybe that the blocks would take them a little bit longer to carry across, and a few of them, Dan tried to do it quickly, and
He tried to take literally the entire stack at once.
which is so dumb. I'm sorry, but Yeah, and then he like he didn't even get close to even like
Right.
trying to solve it.
Because not only did he drop them, he then had to pick them all up like an entire stack of pieces and bring
Yeah,
them back. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think this one was maybe tuned a little bit too easy. I hoped that it would take maybe like, the people that finished, that won and got close to winning, got it in two. I would hope that it would like take three or four from even the like most aggressive people to get it
Yeah.
all over. And then even when we tested the puzzle, I think people had a harder time in testing than they did with it out there. So maybe we need to get testers better at word puzzles, or I don't know, something about being in the game and in the moment accelerates your mind a little bit. But yeah, that both phases went a little bit faster than I thought they would.
Yeah. And I do think this was fun to watch back for me because I was there but didn't see how I like know who's going to win. But it was interesting to because I knew too that Sam and Ty were very close to getting it and they got there 1st. Elizabeth came up afterwards.
Yep.
And notably, if we all remember, like first episode,
Yep.
somebody's like, "Is anyone good at word puzzles?" And Elizabeth's like, "Nah, not me."
Yep. Yep.
And I want to be like, "You liar."
Either a liar or underrepresentation, but yeah,
Yeah.
is when I saw that, in the very first episode, I'm like, I have to include this as a bit of,
Yeah.
foreshadowing. Yeah, I really like the design of this. I think if we were to do it again, I would make, maybe even if, the ability, one of the hardest things about building challenges, in my opinion, is all of these like obstacle things, which are kind of like a minor part of most challenges comparatively, are like the biggest and hardest parts to put together.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, would I love like a half wall for them to have to scale, or like a really high ropes thing to step through? Like, yeah, for sure. But that's going to be the hardest thing that we assemble for kind of like a minor part.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
I
outside
almost
of that,
wish
I
that.
think like the other thing I would do would maybe just be increasing the distance that they have to travel with it. Because maybe as they travel longer, their hands get tired more.
Yeah.
They're not able to apply as much force. It gets more challenging. So maybe just lengthening the distance on not just this, but kind of all of the travel a distance to do a thing challenges. Like, kind of think we undershot it, make them run more.
Well, I think we kept it small because of the amount of cameras.
That's true. Yeah,
And
that's part of
so
it.
it was kind of keeping it to scale so that they weren't having to run with the challenge but could stay
Yeah.
steady
Yeah.
in the challenge and have.
We should have shot it head on too, so that they were like running towards the camera.
Yeah, I was
But
thinking that. I wish that we would have had like, and again, this is a lot of work for not a lot of gain, but like something that they put the pieces onto that was not on the ground, and we talked about that.
yeah, like tables or something.
Yeah, but not even like a board that faces up and they place it.
Mm.
I know this is
Yeah.
not a visual podcast, so
Sure.
can't see my hands. But
Yeah, we tried to build like mats, puzzle mats, where you like,
that wasn't worth it.
yeah, it was again a lot of squeeze for not a lot of juice.
But
It was very close. It was like Sam and Ty were both, literally maybe a second longer, and they could have gotten there.
and so sorry, Ty, that you now hate the letters H and E.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was funny.
I want to, okay, so post challenge then, I want to move on to this conversation that it's mostly Sky and Abby doing the talking, but Adam and Isaac are there too. I'm interested in what you make of this, in that Sky's kind of like, I think, trying to pitch an idea of like, okay, let's take the post swap Orange tribe. So Sky, Adam, Isaac, Elizabeth, Abby, and like ride that 5 to the end, and Sky's like, and if we get to 5, I'll just like throw my idol away, like,
Mm-hmm.
which I think it's a interesting thought. Like, I've never heard somebody make that play before. I don't think. I could be forgetting. I'm sure Elizabeth will tell me if I have. Elizabeth specifically will tell me if I have, but I thought it was an interesting thought. And Abby seems open to it, but again, I don't know as of this point whether that's truly interest or just her going along with it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a interesting conversation there.
Well, yeah, and I think it's a good way to try to fight back into it.
Yeah.
Knowing that her name's going to get thrown out and giving like a possible option that also says, hey, I'm willing to give you something if you give me something.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if she has enough leverage at that point.
Yeah.
To say like we can get you there when everyone's coming after her.
Yeah, it's like really interesting, I think, for everyone but the green folks, because everybody else is so and has been so kind of fractured for so long. It's like when anybody else is kind of building their end game, when they think, okay, who's my final 5, who's my final 4, it's like, for Elizabeth, Dan, Sky, or not Sky, Sam, and Dan, pretty clearly, I think at this point they would all say it's those 4,
Mm-hmm.
But for everyone else, I don't think they would say it's the other 4, right? And that you see that kind of them trying to like concoct sort of a coalition here. And it's like, yeah, like who does Sky, for instance, see as like her final 5? In her mind, it sounds like her best case is like to bring that swapped orange tribe. Like, but who does Ty see as his final 5? Maybe he wants to go with green.
Mm-hmm.
Who does Isaac see as his final 5? Like, it's like an interesting thing because it's hard to tell what anybody else's kind of end game is at this point, and we're starting to get close to it.
Well, and I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is the first time that somebody's actually saying out loud, final 5.
I think so, yeah. Other than maybe Dan and Elizabeth last week when they talked about Anna.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, like it's at this point, you're at 9. Once you get to 8, I feel like 8 and 7 is kind of the like that moment where it's like, all right, now everything really has to be with the end game in mind.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe not all the way there yet, but it's definitely starting to become a part of the picture.
Well, and I think Abby seems to be open to a lot, but I think the reality that I understand is that she's just really like scared of Sky, or that tends to be kind of the general, even narration that Adam's saying is like, why are we so scary?
Yeah.
And so it's like just this lack of any ability to move forward with any of those plans that like Sky's trying to move forward, because
Right.
there's just such this feeling of unknown.
And there's like a lot of shared history now too, and with a game that moves as quickly as Outlast does, like how many times, how many votes have these people gone into together? And there's not been a whole lot of, there's been like 2 or 3 unanimous votes. Everything else has been contested, right? So like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, how many times are you going to let somebody lie to you and you're going to continue to like take what they say with any sort of value, right? Like, I think, Sky and Adam and Elizabeth and Abby are kind of in that place now where they can try and talk to each other, but they've voted against each other like 3-4 times now. Like,
Yeah.
of course you do your due diligence and try and like talk to them or work with them, but like, I don't know. History suggests that's not going to go anywhere.
Right.
Speaking of that, Isaac is back with Sky and Adam for probably the fourth time now after joining them, betraying them, back and forth. As Sky said, the trust being broken and repaired and, broken and stomped on and spit on. And I just find this to be a really funny through line that's been a few episodes long now where it's like, all right, we're going to work with Isaac. And then Isaac, votes against them, like in episode 6. And then they're like, all right, we'll work together again. And then Isaac tells everyone about Sky's idol last episode. And now they're allegedly working together again. And so, I don't know. I just think it's funny. And I think it also, like, it speaks to maybe something about Adam and Sky in particular, and that they're willing to still work with somebody who at least, like, kind of acknowledges their betrayal in the way that Isaac has. Like, Isaac's apologizing seems to actually be effective in this case, in that they are willing to continue to work with him. Or maybe it's just out of desperation. I don't know. We can talk about Ty a little bit. I think he's in maybe the most kind of fluid spot at this point. You don't have a really good sense of who he is working with closely at this point. He says in his confessional that he kind of feels like more of a green than an orange now, having worked with Sam and Dan on a few votes in the post-swap Green tribe. And he is pretty seriously considered here, even though he doesn't get votes. Whether it was the decoy or the true decoy or the fake plan pitched to the others. His name was in the conversation, but ultimately dodges one.
I think ultimately dodges it because Green says, here, we'll give you a green. Is that kind of your read on it?
Yeah, I think there's some confusion about this, I'm interested in talking to, I think it would have to be Sam or Dan or maybe Elizabeth that would have the best informed take on this. Was it a conscious thing where people were like, yeah, let's switch it to Anna and let her be the collateral over Ty? Or was it kind of just a spiral that kind of got out of control and broke containment? I don't know. I don't know if there was agency there or not.
Did keep saying, and so maybe this was effective, that he kept saying, use me.
Yeah.
And became a way to say, hey, I'm going to vote with you.
Right.
And that worked. And then that's the plan that took off.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely used as a number at this point for that green group. And, Ty's going back to the endgame strategy, Ty fixates on, maybe has a negative connotation, but I don't mean it in that way. He's really interested in winning challenges and the impact of winning challenges, so maybe he doesn't really care much who he's going with. He thinks he can just beat him, and get to the end on the strength of winning challenges. And I don't know, maybe he sees who's Elizabeth is the only other person other than Ty that's won an individual immunity. I think she's won 2 now. So, from that perspective, maybe she should be a bigger target for him, even though she's not on the block this time. But yeah, maybe he sees the Green Tribe as people that he should be able to take on in challenges. I also want to clock the 2 or 3 consecutive episodes again of this small, very understated recurring thing where Sam is annoyed or frustrated at Anna not having the plan totally down. It's there's last time where he was we're good to go, right? And I forget what she said. I think she said on Sky. And Sam's no, on Hannah.
Yeah.
And he's exasperated.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's at her specifically or just at having to
say it again.
rein in a chaotic plan and for the upteenth time, and then again this episode when he's like, "You're the decoy," and she's like, "I didn't know that." And he's like, "Oh my god, like, why does nobody know that?" So I just thought that was funny. A couple funny moments. So ultimately, like, the decoy confusion is kind of the most impactful thing here, in that it landing on Anna instead of Ty is what sends her home instead of him. Again, unclear at this point how much that was anybody's specific action or whether it was just kind of something that got out of control. But, you know, you see and hear Anna kind of clocking like, oh, this is a problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
And she even like brings it up, you know, to Elizabeth and Dan. You see them talking there before Tribal, and Elizabeth's kind of like spinning like, okay, so we can split votes. And Anna kind of like stops short of really going for that or like rallying that plan. She's kind of like, no, it should be fine as long as they vote for Ty. And, you know, obviously in retrospect, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Who knows how much change could happen at that point, or whether it would be possible to make that change. But, you know, not the first time we've seen that in this game, where somebody maybe identifies something that isn't going to their favor, but stops short of being able to do something about it, you know?
Yeah.
I also just want to call out, it's like, we're moving really fast at this point in the day. I think you see it last round and this round, like, we're behind schedule. We're trying to move really fast. And so people are, like, mentioning the speed of things, and, you know, it is what it is. But some of these plans kind of not being fully all the way buttoned up, probably that's a factor, you know, that time at camp isn't as much as they would like. I think the next round gets to a more even pace that we're used to. But yeah, the merge vote and this vote in particular, I think were probably the quickest we went all weekend.
Yeah. Well, with the challenge being quick and time at camp being quick, and I think also I felt this as I was watching it. I felt how quick it was going, but also really clocked. It's hour 9 of the day.
It's a long day.
It's a long day, and it's still
no breaks, really. Like, no breaks.
Yeah, and hour 9, it's afternoon. Like, you know.
Oh yeah, it's like dinner time, like, at least.
No, I'm saying it's like middle of the day.
It's later than that.
No, because they still have to get in the water.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, we started at 8, you know. It's probably like 5 o'clock.
Okay. Sure.
There's 2 more rounds this day. And so
Okay.
I think the next one starts at like
I just remember
5, and the last one starts at like 6:30 or
yeah,
something.
I guess like the sun just came out perfectly for
Yeah.
them in the next episode, which
episode is like magic hour time, yeah.
Yeah. I was concerned because it's kind of chilly that weekend at different points. It's definitely not feeling like September. And they're about to get in the water next episode.
Yeah,
And
I
so-
would take the kind of chilly September for, well, there's 12 inches of snow on the ground outside right now is the thing. I'm dreaming about a weekend
Yeah,
in September
sure,
that's
sure.
like 60 something. Anyway, we're moving really fast. At Tribal here, I think Hannah's an excellent juror. She's giving great reactions on the bench. I think when Adam's talking about, like, we have to figure out who the best person to eliminate is, and she's kind of like, what are you talking about, in her face, I think is really funny. Obviously they didn't like see eye to eye the whole weekend, and so that is part of what's going on there, but is very fun. Have to call out Dan's voting booth confessional, which is the next in a string of kind of misread, failed called shots from the voting booth for Dan. God love him, but
They're so good, though.
it's really funny. It was the blind side on Cody's, and then the, you know, sucks to go home with an idol in your pocket. He's kind of become like the reverse, you know, shot caller. It's like if Dan if Dan goes into the voting booth and says something's going to happen, you can be sure that the opposite's going to happen. But we love Dan. Just an unfortunate look a couple times here. And then, of course, Sky plays the idol, blocks 5 votes. 3 land on Anna, 1 on Adam. I made a meme in the Discord. I made 2 memes related to Sky. The first was when she had 2 idols. Like, and she was throwing things out of her bag. I did the like handshake meme, the Terminator handshake meme, and it was Sky and Tony Vlachos, and they were shaking hands over having a bag of tricks. The other one was when she found 2 idols, and it was the corporate wants you to find the difference between these 2 pictures, and one's a picture of her, and the other one's of James Clement. And it's the same picture. Anyway, I bring this up because I was also reminded of Tony when the vote happens, and she just starts, like, clapping loudly, kind of like in everyone's face, a la Tony at the Cagayan merge boot. Is also pretty funny to watch back. You know, yeah, she's stoked. She played the idol correctly. Adam's still in the game. And so it's a good result for her.
Yeah, and it is, you can sense the tension at the end because it is a little like, it's really
tense, for
fun.
sure.
It's really fun to watch, to be like, oh my gosh, a well-played idol. And then it's easy to forget, like, now they all have to walk back and, you know, still play together.
Yeah, and everyone who voted for Sky is thinking, like, shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Who did she vote for? You know, like, it could be me. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a tense moment. Okay, would you like to move on to our Gertchie Awards for the player of the month? Or the week, rather.
Player of the week for me goes to Sky.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Really don't really need to explain this. Again, I like to give mine off of vibes, and this was the best part of the episode. So great job using your immunity idol correctly. And she made the episode really entertaining. And overall, at the end of it, you're like, yeah, Sky, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's nothing, you can't argue against that. She plays an idol correctly, saves herself, keeps herself in the game. Like, explicit, win for her there. I have to think about mine, because Sky would be my first pick as well. But I don't think we've picked someone different every time so far, and I don't think I want to break precedent, but it's getting harder and harder to
also,
pick
that would
other
be a
people.
full sweep because she's namer.
She named the episode, too.
Got my Gertchie. If she gets your Gertchie.
I'm trying to think, like, at this point, I don't want to give anything away of next episode. Like, there's a little bit of, like, conflicting reports on what happened, like, how this happened, And even, like, next episode doesn't all the way clear it up. Like, again, I won't
What happened?
spoil it, but, like, there's a couple people saying, like, yeah, I got it switched to Anna. Like, I wanted that to happen. And there's a couple people, or someone saying, like, yeah, I leaked to Sky to play the idol. And other people saying, no, nobody told her, or whatever. And so, again, the mystery of what exactly happened here is one that is frankly unsolved. And so I don't have a whole lot of firm footing on which to award an award.
You have to go off of this episode.
I know. Based on, like, who instigated the move towards Anna. I don't know. I think the obvious answer is Sky, so I'll give it to Sky as well. Look at that. A clean sweep
Bow, 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 bow.
from Sky. That brings, I think, her total. Yeah, four total Gertie awards now, which paces the group. Looks like Ty has three, Abby has three, Elizabeth and Sam have two. That's your leaderboard.
And all you other losers.
There's a few that with one. Cody has one. Hannah had one.
Maybe Adam will get one eventually.
I thought about it here, but I don't really think. Frankly, he. Yeah, I mean he votes correctly, but yeah, I think the Anna thing happened without really his pushing of it. So I'll give it to Sky. Sky's the clear winner of the episode. Congratulations. Great. I'm scheduled to chat with Anna later this week, and so in just a moment you'll hear from her. You'll hear me say this again later as well, but again, make sure that you're subscribed to this YouTube channel. There's also a few links in the description. One's an email list. We just send a couple emails a week with episode reminders and other news. There's also an interest form for season 2, so if you're watching and enjoying this and want to be involved in season 2 as either a player or a crew member, follow that link and we'll let you know when applications open. And that'll do it from Jen and I. You'll hear from me and Anna next. Okay, I'm joined now by Anna, the second member of the jury, the player eliminated from this week's episode. Anna, thank you for joining. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. I'll start with the same thing that I've been asking everyone in what has it been like for you watching Outlast back, as seeing yourself on the big screen and seeing, the events that you took part in, through a different lens? What's kind of been surprising to you, or how's the experience been so far?
Luckily good. You've done tastefully well, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I never record well. Personally, also hate the sound of my voice, but
Sure.
overall, I have no complaints.
Awesome.
Yeah, looking back, I knew that I would never want to pay attention to me during a challenge.
Right.
I know that is not my strong suit.
Yeah.
And especially this last episode where I was doing questionable things because I misheard the instructions. Glad you did not focus on me for that one.
I'm interested in that. Talk about that, because I did in the editing notice a couple times, like I was a little bit confused about what you were doing, but it, obviously ended up not being impactful, so I didn't linger there. But yeah, what happened?
Yeah, when when they talked about, like holding the blocks in between the two sticks or whatever, I, for some reason in my head, I was like, heard you have to do it by the edges.
Sure.
And not like that you can just, put it in the middle of it and just stack a bunch of them and push it. So I heard you had to do from the edges.
Interesting.
So I was like getting maybe like 3 or 4, got like 4 steps, it would drop.
Yeah.
And then eventually I saw what everyone was doing. I was like, oh crap. But I was already like 1 round or 2 rounds behind.
Yeah.
Like by the time Liz finished it, I think I was just starting my last round to even get to put the tiles together.
That's funny. Yeah, I noticed the way you were holding it. I thought maybe it was an intentional thing. Didn't realize that maybe it was a misunderstanding. But you may have come across a way to make this challenge more challenging next time. So you've got to hold him by the sides.
It was awful. I would not recommend it because, again, I got like 3 or 4 steps and then they would just drop.
That's funny. Have you had any like big surprising moments watching it back? I think this is something I'm always interested in. Like if you see a conversation somebody else had that you didn't know they had, and you're like, oh, wow, that changes the way that I view what happened out there, or anything like that.
Well, I want to say I viewed it. I know during this episode it showed like, I think Liz and Dan talking and going, we got to stay on it. Make it seem like we're on Anna's side because she's the easy vote out. In my head, I was always the easy vote out.
Sure.
So I can't say I was surprised that they were talking about it. I was surprised they didn't figure out. I probably figured that one out. That's why I
Interesting.
flipped, which I know we'd probably get to eventually.
Yeah,
Um, but other than that, no, I can't say I was surprised by too
sure.
much.
Yeah, we
Other than the whole experience, because I'm no minimal survivor. That the whole experience was an eye opener.
yeah. I mean, you did a great job out there. Yeah, I am interested in talking about that. I think the like position that you occupied in the middle part of the game where yeah, you flip off of green in that first post swap challenge or tribal. But then you kind of flip back the following one. Um, is like potentially a really effective strategy of like kind of positioning yourself as that impactful middle vote every time so that you're making the decision, the
Mhm.
the way that it goes wrong is if people start to realize that and everyone's like, yeah, none of us can work with her, so they vote her out. So yeah, I'm interested. You brought it up, like what went into that initial decision to voting out David there at the swap, and then maybe talk about that kind of middle spot you found out or you found yourself in through the middle
Yeah.
part of the game.
Yeah. I know like all the green were like green strong. I was never in that.
Yeah.
I think from the beginning, like I knew Liz and Abby were a pretty solid alliance. Didn't quite know until a little later that Dan was involved.
Uh huh.
And then Sam was just pro green. Like, I know he was kind of in the alliance. I don't think he was as strong as others, but like, I was just I was never brought into an alliance. No one really, other than we were on the same team, like
Yeah.
tribe, no one really came up to me and was like, I think we should go to the end, blah, blah, blah.
Interesting.
So when we got to the point where, it was majority green and then the three oranges, um, I was like, well, if we get to a strong green and there's not many oranges, I'm like, they're going to vote me out.
Yeah.
So in my interest, I was like, I rather would make, um, you know, a semi alliance with orange,
Mm-hmm.
get a green out in this alliance, which I didn't know David and Dan were that strong of an alliance. So that
Yeah.
just, I guess, went in my favor in that.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were a thing, but so that's really what caused me to flip because I really had not much alliance or allegiance to green itself.
Sure.
And I don't know if, since I barely watch Survivor, I don't know if most people stick to their tribe and that's a normal thing or not. I was just like, if we
Yeah.
get to green, I'm the weakest link. They're gonna knock me out. So I need someone on my side, which
No,
would be orange, who is
totally.
in a bad position right now.
Yeah, I think it was a correct read too, because even in the first couple episodes, like when they're talking about the votes, Jake and Allie, like you're a part of that coalition to vote them out. But then when I think you hear from Elizabeth and Dan and Abby in particular, when they're talking about like who they want to work with specifically, they're mentioning each other and your name doesn't really come up. So I think it was a right read to identify that you were maybe at the bottom of that group. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it on Big Boy Survivor, it's kind of all over the place. Some seasons people stay like true to their tribe line. Some seasons it immediately busts open and is very fluid. So definitely not like a
Yeah,
foregone
I was
conclusion.
winging it the whole time. Absolutely zero strategy. Uh, I actually probably had very minimal strong alliance. I didn't have a strong alliance, which is
Yeah.
why I could flip so easily.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Um,
Yeah, I think that brings us to like, you know, obviously, though you never were on the same tribe or worked with your sister Emily, that is probably something that you were hopeful. I imagine you were hopeful that you would reach a merge point or a swap point and get to work with her. How much was that in your plans? And like, did her elimination, right before the merge, how much did that kind of throw a wrench in your game, if it did at all?
Yeah, like there was always, in the back of my head going, okay, if me and Emily get to the merge, like if we have people on each side, like we could combine if that,
Mm-hmm.
benefited both of us. Um, as I think Emily also said, like it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Either of us would vote each other out just for fun, even if it didn't benefit us. That's
I
just our relationship.
I actually would have loved to have seen that happen. That would have been very funny.
Yeah, like you could have easily talked like if it benefited one of us, you could have easily talked one of us into going against the other. Like,
Funny.
yes, we have a strong sibling bond, but it's more
Mm-hmm.
of in the competitive
I
sense.
love it. Yeah, I love it.
So like you could have easily talked one of us into flipping on the other, and we would again just sometimes do it out of spite.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Emily, she's gonna hate that I say it, has always been the instigator, and like when once we have me, her, and our younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going against one sibling, you get the other one on your side.
That's funny.
So there's always been that clash, which is why, yes, we probably both think in the back of our head, if we get there, could this benefit us? And I know Cody and the boat came in
Mm-hmm.
to the merge, and basically he was the one that brought up that, me and Hannah were like pretty solid with your sister,
Yeah.
and if we get to the merge, she has Isaac,
Yeah.
and we could combine, and then we would have a majority. So that was kind of talked
Yep.
about when Cody was there. And Cody, if you're listening, my downfall was probably getting rid of Cody.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing you talk more about that because I kind of felt similarly when that was happening of like is again occupying that middle spot is maybe like an advantageous position, but as you start to look 2, 3, 4 steps ahead, yeah, maybe the next part of your game would have you know looked rosier if you had involved Cody in it.
yeah, in retrospect, if me, Cody, Hannah got to the merge,
Yep.
we probably could have brought Ty in. Isaac probably could have gone with us, and that would have been a big portion
Yeah.
if we kind of brought that in, although I know flip flop. Um, yeah, my reasoning behind, because Ty facilitated this,
Yeah.
is when we were doing that round, like Cody started doing, this is his knowledge of the game, and him going really in depth to someone who knows nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Knows nothing enough that, when I got on jury, I didn't even know what jury was,
Sure.
if that
Sure.
tells you anything. I
Yeah.
had not watched Survivor enough to even get to the jury part. I thought you just kept knocking out people to the final two, and I wasn't really sure how you
What
picked a
happened
winner.
then? Yeah.
So when I got on jury and I found out that we actually voted. So that was something I actually did
That's
not know
funny.
until I got on
That's
there.
funny.
So Cody was like doing math of tie. If we do 2 votes here, 2 votes here, 2 votes here, we tie, we vote this, they get up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why don't four of us just vote one person and get that person out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, he kind of went hard in that. And I'm just like, he must be a strong player. Do I need to get him out
For
now? I
sure.
don't know. And then Ty brought it up. And then I was like, yeah, this sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Definitely a
And again,
common
that was the
refrain.
call of me.
Sure.
Because once we got past that to the merge, again, Hannah was the next one to go.
Right.
And then there was me, who had no strong alliances, which Cody probably would have been a strong alliance if I kept him.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. It's like I think a thread that I didn't all the way connect of like your I associated you more with the green, but going into that merge, maybe yeah, you had said it yourself. You're more closely aligned with like Hannah and those people that you swapped over with, and so yeah, your vote out there is kind of following that same pattern of the previous couple. So
Mm-hmm.
um
Now, looking back, I actually kind of forgot that Sky played her idol, and that's why I
uh
actually got knocked
yeah,
out. So it made me feel a lot better. I forgot about that.
that's funny. Yeah. And you read it correctly, right? That and this is a thing that, in the first part of the podcast we talk about, but like you did clock that like, oh shit, if I'm the decoy and Sky plays the idol, like that's on me. And there is that conversation where you and Elizabeth and Dan are kind of talking about, okay, well, what if we try and split the vote instead? And then you kind of backpedal off of it, where you're like, it's fine. Like keep it on Sky, and if they vote tie, it's okay. And so, yeah, you were close to enacting something different there, but ultimately, yeah, just didn't have
Yeah,
the
I
legs.
think part of it was my introvertedness started coming in, and I'm
Sure.
like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because like Sam came up to me, and he was the one who initially was just like, we're voting Sky, but we're telling them we're voting you.
Uh huh.
And I'm like, okay, but Sky uses her idol. Who leaves? Who does that leave?
Yeah.
And I was like, me. And he's like, oh crap. He's like, you might need to go find an alliance. And I'm like, nah, we're good. I was like,
Yeah.
at that point, I'm like, I think I have am peopled out, and
Yeah.
I don't even want to try to save
I hear you.
myself.
Yeah, not the first person that's, at this point of the game, like the fatigue is real. Like if not physical, the emotional, mental, relational fatigue is definitely set in.
Yeah, I thought I would, and I from considering I'm an introvert in my personal life,
Yep.
but I'm a physical therapist. I talk all the time, and then I'm an extrovert at work,
Yeah.
so I can easily turn it on and off.
Mhm.
But yeah, that definitely took a toll, especially with all the scheming. You're going in the back of your head, being like, "Did they tell me the truth?
Yep.
I don't know."
For sure.
Sam was probably the only person I knew that he would tell me exactly what he was doing,
Yeah.
and it didn't always align with what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. To his credit, that's a thing that I think is sets him apart from some of the other players is that he's not afraid. You see it even with the Cody vote or David's vote, where he tells Cody like, "I'm voting for you, but XYZ." And so yeah, he'll tell you the truth even if it maybe seems better to tell a lie.
Hmm.
Really quickly, I want to talk a little bit about Hannah's vote before this one. I know that there's some conversation with you and then about like how much you would be willing to go in on that plan. Ultimately, you do, but especially based on what we just talked about of maybe wanting to involve her more fully in your game. Like, yeah, did you have any real trepidation about voting her out there, or was that something you were always willing to do?
Oh, in all honesty, I would have voted anyone out. Again,
Yeah,
I had no strong alliance, and I
yeah,
think most people, like even Hannah, I think we've been through like one or two tribals together.
mm-hmm,
Like, did we get a huge connection? I don't know. I don't personally think other than I went with them the first time, but
yeah,
then I voted Cody out, so there has to be an idea that hey, I switched pretty easily.
yeah. That's true.
Um, I didn't want to get her out. She definitely like I think was it Adam was the other choice. Like I definitely would have preferred to keep her in,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just what the majority was going.
Yeah,
And and that was a weird one where people kept flipping back and forth. Like there was plan one, plan two, no one knew
yeah.
what it was. So you were like running around, which I think were that clarifying with people and being like, which one are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think some people were out of the loop because there were too many plans.
Yeah, yeah. That's one I think where you really see because there's 10 people in the tribe at that point. Like that's a huge number of people to try and get aligned on one thing. Like I think that definitely plays out. Just the sheer uh, number of people that are involved.
Yeah, and I know that one, like I already knew the green players. I talked probably more to Isaac than
Mm-hmm.
anyone on that, but I know he was like, I'm just doing what I can to stay alive.
Right.
And I know I didn't talk too much to Sky and Adam. So,
Yeah.
I just have the, impression of Skyforce
Right. Right.
being like, if I align with them, I am a target because
Sure.
they're a target.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think with so many people in so little time, like I couldn't really build new relationships too much just because of that.
Yeah.
So I kind of just faulted back on what is everyone doing?
Totally. Yeah. Thank you for bringing up Skyforce and naming it as well. That's a joy for me that
I would
that
like to
happened.
say, and Ty's probably going to get credit for it. I was the one who came up with that. Thank you.
I credit it. I know that you said it first, so the credit is all yours.
Thank you. I was watching that and I'm like, who said that? I was like,
Yeah.
I know I said it, but did I say it in the actual like episode?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Sam's like asking you what you called it or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know many people who would know that the Skyforce is the G League of the Heat in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Yeah, why do the Miami Heat have a feeder team in South Dakota?
I have no idea.
That's wild.
It makes absolutely no sense.
No, no, it doesn't. Last thing I wanted to ask you, and maybe we talked about this a little bit already, but what did you see as like your end game, or had you not really gotten there mentally yet? As far as like, okay, if I'm gonna get to the end, this is who it's gonna be with. This is how it's gonna come together.
There was no end game.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, I never saw myself getting this far, so I
Sure.
think it was just all in, run around, create chaos if I need to, and just see
Mm-hmm.
what happens.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Obviously, it didn't work out for me, but hey, that's okay.
You did pretty well. Yeah. Jury is no small feat. So, is there anything else that you want to talk about that we haven't had a chance to talk about?
I don't think so. I
Awesome.
think we covered all the main topics of my game, at least.
Cool. Okay. Well, thanks again for joining. I'll do our little wrap up here. So, for the listeners, of course, make sure that you're subscribed to the YouTube channel here so that you don't miss new episodes of Outlast. And next week, a day or a week from today, next Monday, the 9th episode of Outlast will hit your feeds. There's also links in the description to our email newsletter that you can sign up for to get just a couple emails from us a week. And season 2 of Outlast is officially happening. Maybe Anna will get her younger brother to play so we can go 3 for 3 on siblings. But if you're interested in season 2, there's a link in the description as well to express your interest. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.